and family, and I truly mean that. All of you guys out there, I've met a tremendous amount of you guys, and I have mad love for all of you guys. My family and I, like a lot of you guys, we are entrenched into a lot of your families, and we appreciate you guys including us in your families and for making us a larger family of Yah. And as always, all glory goes to Yahuwah. All glory goes to the most amazing creator and designer that we could ever possibly have. We are so blessed with having a holy creator. We could have a creator that is completely unholy, and these lands could be a even more vile cesspit than they are. Because without any kind of Torah, without a way, without any kind of way forward, we would be lost. And so a lot of us are looking for the way forward. We're looking for the Torah. We have awoken in our captivities. And when we have woken in our captivities, we have figured out that some of us are doing some of the things that the pagans do because that's what we're born into. We don't know anything different. It's been in our culture. It's been in our heritage. It's been in our lineage. That's how it has always been for us. And that is the way history changes. And those who are the winners of the wars change all the history. And we are in a society now, and I went over this, in the 1900s, prior to the 1900s, we don't know of a time when women were forced or were coerced or were shamed if they didn't shave their legs. This is all new, and this is a new into society thing. And I believe that in the 1900s, it began the eventual demise of all morals as we began to show more and more of female nudity. And as the females are being exposed and as nudity is being exposed, they want their women not to have hair on their bodies for some reason. And as we talked about yesterday, there are commandments with a comma in there that says, do not cut yourself. Do not cut yourself. You're not supposed to cut yourself. And even though it is rare, it is very rare, I understand, there are times when we have all cut ourselves when we've been shaving. And so we're breaking a commandment there. But there's more of one that we talked about being a purified, set-apart people that are awaiting our bridegroom. We are to be looking completely different than the world. We're supposed to be a pure set of people. We're supposed to be set apart so much that we don't look like the world. And if we are carrying on the traditions and men, I've heard it from a lot of men, they're angry at this teaching. Because us as men, we have a eye that draws us to a woman and what we believe is beautiful in a woman. But please hear me out when I mention that our Creator knows exactly how men are coded up. He would know without a shadow of a doubt that perhaps that little tuft of hair underneath the armpits is actually more attractive to a man than the entire world that we've been led to believe that you need to have because it's a hygiene thing. Because it's not a hygiene thing. It has nothing to do with a hygiene thing. It has nothing to do with any of it. It was a marketing scheme. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look at my video from yesterday. It was a marketing scheme by Gillette to get people to think that hair was masculine and that it was unhygienic and things of that nature. And as we get more into this and as I learn more about this and about the creations of our Creator, I am never, ever going to say that there's something that He built on one of us that is not perfect. There is no such thing. There is nothing within creation that I can think of that I would alter, because I think if I tried to alter something, I would break something that our Creator has made perfect. And so we have hair for a reason. And I didn't know any of this, but I am learning this. And today we're going to go into a little course in biology too. And if you guys will just hear me out, perhaps we can see why exactly our Creator has given us such an amazing thing. Let's take a quick look at what is in front of you, my friends. This is a human hair. From the top of your head to the bottom of your toes, this is what a hair follicle looks like. I would like to point out that this looks like an antenna, and it is all connected to something right here that I didn't even know we had. This blew me away when I started studying this right here. There's a muscle right there. The erector pili muscle that is connected to the hair follicle that actually goes to the skin. So this is very interesting. Let's go to school and let's figure out exactly what we're looking at. And if we look at the hair shaft right there, I want to take and look over. This is the medulla, the cortex, and the cuticle. This little area within this. Sebaxillus gland. Barclay's probably going to yell at me for this. Barclay's our resident doctor that he's a family friend, and we really appreciate his input on all this stuff. I appreciate all your guys' input. I really do. I love the comments. I love when we can discuss this stuff and discuss the Yah's people, because I think this is stuff we have to openly discuss. I mean, we want to be those people for our Creator. So if we are doing something that is contrary to what He wants us to do, let's fix it. The inner root sheath, outer root sheath, the hair matrix, the hair papilla, the hair bulb. Notice the hair bulb, right? And then we have the erector pili muscle. Okay, let's go to school real quick. Hair is a keratinous filament growing out of the epidermis. It is primarily made of dead keratinized cells. Strands of hair originated in an epidermal penetration of the dermis called the hair follicle. The hair shaft is the part of the hair not anchored to the follicle, and much of this is exposed at the skin surface. The rest of the hair, which is anchored in the follicle, lies below the surface of the skin and is referred to as the hair root. The hair root ends deep in the dermis at the hair bulb and includes a layer of mitochondrially active basal cells called the hair matrix. The hair bulb surrounds the hair papilla, which is made of connective tissue and contains blood capillaries and nerve endings from the dermis. This is what this is talking about right here. This whole thing right here. It's a living, breathing, working mechanism of awesomeness. Just as the basal layer of the epidermis forms the layers of the epidermis that get pushed to the surface as the dead skin on the surface sheds, the basal cells of the hair bulb divide and push cells outward in the hair root and shaft as the hair grows. The medulla forms the central core of the hair, which is surrounded by the cortex, a layer of compressed keratinized cells that is covered by an outer layer of very hard keratinized cells known as the cuticle. These layers are depicted in a longitudinal cross-section of the hair follicle, figure 2, although not all hair has a medullary area. Wow, so this is what it looks like deep inside. It is amazing. Look at all this. Look at Yah's creation of a simple hair follicle. This is cool. Check out this part. Hair texture, straight, curly, is determined by the shape and structure of the cortex, and to the extent that it is present, the medulla. The shape and structure of these layers are, in turn, determined by the shape of the hair follicle. So, based upon something up here inside of this, the medulla, cortex, and cuticle area, is whether you have straight or curly hair. Wow, isn't that cool? The shape and structure of these layers are in turn determined by the shape of the hair follicle. Hair growth begins with the production of keratinocytes by the basal cells of the hair bulb. As new cells are deposited at the hair bulb, the hair shaft is pushed through the follicle toward the surface. Keratinization is completed as the cells are pushed to the skin surface to form the shaft of hair that is externally visible. The external hair is completely dead and composed entirely of keratin. For this reason, one hair does not have sensation. Furthermore, you can cut your hair or shave without damaging the hair structure because the cut is superficial. Most chemical hair removers also act superficially. However, electrolysis and yanking both attempt to destroy the hair bulb, so hair cannot regrow. So, I guess when you wax, you would rip all of this out. You'd rip your muscle out, and this is why waxing is probably extremely painful, because you're trying to rip this thing out, which is not a great idea, and this is why. Well, actually, here, let's get into a little more PhD stuff. The wall of the hair follicle is made of 3 concentric layers of cells. The cells of the internal root sheath surround the root of the growth hair and extend just up to the hair shaft. They are derived from the basal cells of the hair matrix. The external root sheath, which is an extension of the epidermis, encloses the hair root. It is made of basal cells at the base of the hair root and tends to be more keratinous in the upper regions. The glassy membrane is a thick, clear connective tissue sheath covering the hair root, connecting to the tissue of the dermis. Now, this is very interesting right here, because this is where I see that, okay, so if you do not have hair, you're going to miss all of this right here. So hair serves a variety of functions, including protection, sensory input, thermoregulation, and communication. this is very important, guys. The hairs are a part of your body network. Like, they are meant to be there because it is a defense system. It is a way that you are protected, and without this, you are not protected. For example, hair of the head protects the skull from the sun. The hair in the nose and ears around the eyes defends the body by trapping and excluding dust particles that may contain allergens and microbes. Hair of the eyebrows prevents sweat and other particles from dripping into and bothering the eyes. Hair also has a sensory function due to sensory intervention by a hair root plexus surrounding the base of each hair follicle. Hair is extremely sensitive to air movement or other disturbances in the environment, much more so than the skin surface. So this is actually better defense than your skin. If you have hair, you are able to get foreign objects, probably figure them out first, because they're going to touch the outside layer of this hair, and it's going to go down to that muscle, and your skin is going to itch. You're going to notice something on you. It's time to get it off. Due to intervention of hair roots, hair is extremely sensitive to air movement or other disturbances in the environment, much more so than the skin surface. The feature is also useful for protection of the presence of insects or other potentially damaging substances on the skin's surface. Each hair root is connected to a smooth muscle called the erector pili that contracts in response to nerve signals from the sympathetic nervous system, making the external hair shaft stand up. The primary purpose for this is to trap a layer of air to add insulation. This is visible in humans as goosebumps, and even more obvious in animals, such as when a frightened cat raises its fur. Of course, this is much more obvious in organisms with a heavier coat. So I am going to end there. I will leave this link in the text. You guys can go to your Lumen Learning. Of course, that name sounds pretty satanic in and of itself, but I think so is most of the education systems that are out there. So we will take what we can find here. But if you take a look at perfection, when you lose this on your legs, for example, here in the jungle, we have all sorts of stuff out here. And I believe that my protection of hair on my legs is going to add a lot of protection for me. So if we are shaving this off and there's things about it, right? Let's go right back again, right here. It serves as sensory input, thermoregulation, and communication. That is what a hair on your body does. Now, let's go take a look real quick, because I found this interesting. This article right here says, hairy men less likely to be bitten by insects. Now, this is only doing a study on hairy men because our tradition and our customs, at least here in North America, and I know that a lot of the world, is that women wouldn't have hair. So this study was them, and it says, according to new research, being hairy is a good thing if you don't want to be bitten by a mossy, that is. And I don't know what a mossy is. It must be something like a bug. I would have messed. Apparently, having lots of body hair makes it harder for biting insects such as mosquitoes and ants to get a good chomp on you. It also increases the chance of you noticing the bugs before they do any damage. The study involved 29 volunteers who had one arm shaved before a volley of hungry bed bugs were set up on them. The results showed that people with large amount of hair, both long hairs and tiny, almost translucent various hairs, were more protected, reports the Irish Independent. Our findings show that the more body hairs means better detection of parasites, said Professor Michael Silva Jothy from the University of Sheffield's Department of Animal and Plant Sciences. The hairs have nerves attached to them and provide us with the ability to detect displacement by forming a barrier and providing detection. These hairs prolong search time and make detection more likely because the bug has to spend more time clamoring over them. So men that are wanting our women to be silky, soft, and, without hair, I think we need to get over this taboo of this. I think it is a taboo. I think it is something that we have. It is normal to us, but it should be abnormal because we are leaving our women defenseless. Yes, they might look great and they might be silky and sleek for one day, and then they have to reshave day after day after day. That's abnormal. That is not how Yah created us. He did not create the hair on the women so they had to shave it every single day, or he would have provided Eve with a razor. Mother Eve would have had a razor, and there would be a commandment, and we would be talking about that, and there would probably be times you wouldn't shave and times you would. There's nothing about that. So if we are losing what we have, the last thing, this is a picture that I thought was interesting. This is a zoomed in picture on a high-end microscope. And I thought it looked interesting because it looks like it's right. It almost look at the hairs when you're looking super close. It's like a mesh netting. So that is how and why it protects you. And if you should have all of this stuff. We should have it on our legs. And also where it says it's helping us with our heat, it allows us to sweat correctly. It allows us to do the right things that we should be doing. Last thing that I want to get into real quick here. This is that's the same article they did. So anyway, I have nothing other than that. I do hope that we are able to come to something. We all have to follow our own way. We all have to find that narrow path. We all have to make ourselves acceptable on that day when our groom is coming for us, right? We don't want to be doing as the pagans do. We don't want to be doing as the Babylonians do. If it is bad for the health of a female and for a woman, and with the moisturizing strips in there, why would we be encouraging them to do something that is going to potentially harm them or make them sick, right? We have to protect those around us. And if we understand that if there's stuff with name brands on it, there's poisons and toxins in nearly everything. We're putting that on our skin. We're putting that in the soaps. It's on the razor blades, the strips, and we're killing our women. And I'm really not okay with it. And I'm pretty sure Yah won't be okay with that. And, I've lived, I will be honest, I've lived 21 years. My wife shaves everything. And it is a challenge getting her thinking correctly. And this is why I'm doing a lot of these videos, is to help others that are stuck in this taboo, because it just doesn't, when you think about this, it's abnormal, right? It is abnormal. And yes, I realize that, I had one of my guys talking about, yes, well, if you're in a bikini and you're out in public or something of the sort, and you should be able to shave and things of that nature. And my response to that was, this sounds far too worldly for me. Number one, I would not let my wife or my kids or anyone, I wouldn't let my kids go to a swimming pool because everybody's half naked. I wouldn't let my wife go to the swimming pool because even though she wouldn't be half naked, guys would be googling on her and oogling on her, and I don't want that. It's too worldly. So I don't see a place in the world. I mean, if you are going in for surgery, yeah, absolutely. Let's not be crazy. But if you are doing this because it is something we've always done and you don't understand why it's always been done, then I guess the last message I'd like to leave you with is that it is dangerous for you, and you're losing your supernatural protection, your skin protection. You would want these hairs on your armpits and your legs and everywhere else because you will be protected. And this is why Yah created us like this, and he created us completely perfect. Much love to everybody out there. Hope you have a good day. I'm out.